Hi, my name is Aapo and I am excited to announce that a new 6th sample plugin is out. It's called Flatter and it's a multiband distortion plugin. Let's jump straight into FL Studio and I'll show you what Flatter can do and why it could just be your next favorite plugin for saturation and distortion. Let's go. Okay, here we are again in FL Studio and this is the plugin, and as I said, it's called Flatter. I have a demo project again as usual, and I will use this to display the features of Flatter and play some demo sounds for you so you can hear how it sounds like. I will start by going through the interface and show you the features and tell a little bit about them, and then I will go straight into playing around with the sounds. First, I will tell you again that this too, as every other 6th sample plugin, is resizable from the bottom right corner. I think you can resize it from elsewhere as well, at least in FL Studio. So the first thing I will show you is this settings screen I have here. This is somewhat the same as in SSF. So we have the version here, then we have the GUI, which is the theme. I will show you the theme soon, but I will first go through the panel otherwise. Next we have FPS. This is simply the frame rate of the plugin. So if you want to save your performance and you don't need a smooth animations, you can just maybe go to 30 FPS, but I will leave it at 60 because I think that's a good sweet spot. Then we have anime dist functions. This will disable and enable the animations in these distortion functions here. Then we have the link to my website and the logo, and then we have update and bug report buttons you can use to check for updates and maybe tell me some bugs you can find in the plugin. Probably you will find some, so I really appreciate if you have the time to tell me about them. Maybe we will go through the themes. So this one is the SS. This is with the 6th sample colors. I think this is pretty nice. Then we have Desert, Cherry, Futuristic, Neptune, Ninja. Don't ask me how I come up with these names. Crimson, Calm. This one is also nice, I think. Then we have a Shadow, and then we have Acid, which is pretty cool in my opinion also. Okay, so that's the settings panel. So other stuff in this UI. We have the buttons for multiband mode and the single band mode. So this is just basic distortion to the full signal. So no band splitting in the frequency spectrum. So the plugin will start with the multiband mode. So this one is default, but you can always switch to the single band mode if you wish. Then we have the preset menu. We will go through the presets soon or later on in the video. And that's pretty much it for the top panel. Next up we have the spectrum analyzer and the multiband section here. You can control the crossover cutoffs or frequencies with these sliders here. Okay, then we'll go into the distortion controller unit itself. Maybe we'll go into the single band mode so the other two don't distract you or me. Okay, so this is it. I will make the plugin a little bit bigger or maximum size because I want you to see the whole controls, and it's pretty small in the whole of the UI. So we have these two sliders first here. So this one is input and this one is output. I think it's pretty easy to understand by the location. So this one is going into the distortion and this one is going out. The sliders are not labeled or pretty much nothing is labeled in this unit. I think this is not a problem because there are so few controls that you easily can see what they do and how to use them. It shouldn't take more than 2 minutes to get up and running with the plugin, and you will see that it's very simple to use once you know which one does the function you want to do. Then we have the huge rectangle here in the middle, and this one is the distortion controller. So this one will control the mix and the drive. So I will pull up a function here. I will maybe go with fat. And you can see as I turn this one up, the linear function will turn into the distortion function you have chosen from this drop down here. So yeah, if you didn't notice, this one is the distortion function selector. So you can choose the distortion function here. There are 46, I believe, of them, so there's plenty of options. Okay, so this one is mix, so the y-axis is the mix of the function, and then the x-axis is the drive. So you can see the function kind of squashes when you move the thing here to the right, and then loosens up a little when you bring it back to the left. And you can see with other functions as well that this same thing happens. Okay, so then all we have left is these things here, and then this slider here, which is disabled at the moment, and I will tell you why pretty soon. So this is solo. In the single band mode, this is pretty much useless because that is the only audio playing. You cannot solo it from any other audio, but it is still here because it will look the same as these here in the multiband mode. Then we have mute. Then this one is bypass. So we have solo, mute, bypass. And then these two are the interesting ones. So the icons are arrow up and arrow down, and these might not be the best icons for this, but I just simply didn't come up with anything else, so I went with these, and these look clean with the letters here. So these are for dynamic distortion, and this is pretty cool and I think unique feature in this plugin. So this one is only for the attack. And you can see as I press this, the slider here will turn on. So the color will turn the same as with the input and output sliders. This one is for the attack, and this one is for the release. And these are really good to get some transparent distortion and keep the dynamics. And this one is the sensitivity for these two. So this slider is disabled if you don't have these enabled. But as soon as you enable either one of them, the slider becomes active. And when you turn the slider here, you will get less sensitivity, and here you will get more. The position in the middle here is a pretty good sweet spot for most sounds, I found out. So that is why the slider goes both ways. And what I mean by sensitivity is these modes work by using transient shapers, or not transient shapers, but transient detectors, and this just controls how much of the transient is translated into distortion. I don't know if that makes sense, but when you get to play around with the plugin yourself, you can see what I mean. Yeah, that's the distortion unit. Then all we have left in the UI is OSR, which stands for oversampling rate. With this you can oversample up to 8 times, so you can remove some aliasing from the distortion. We have a master input, master output, and then we have mix. One more button down here, which is the lock button, and this will lock the parameters between the bands. So this one is also pretty useless in the single band mode, but it's still there. So as you can see, if I move these around a little bit and use the lock, you can see that all of them moves keeping the distance between each other, and this is pretty useful if you want to make some general changes to all of the bands. Okay, so let's move on to the presets next. There are 20 of them. That is not that many, but part of my philosophy when making plugin is that the plugin should be so easy to use that you shouldn't really need presets. That is, you should always be able to get the result you want as quick as possible without relying on presets, and that is so easy to keep using the plugin like that and never actually do anything yourself with it. So presets are really good, and that's why I include them still, but I think it's also good for manufacturers to make the plugin so easy to use that producers shouldn't have to rely on the presets made by the manufacturer. So that is what I think about making plugins and the simplicity and presets. But they are still nice to have, because sometimes you want to save some time with a preset you use on many channels, and if you would have to tweak the sliders again and again for each channel and each project, you would waste some time. So it's still nice to have presets to get those go-to settings every time you need them. So I will play you the track I have here, and I will go through the presets, and then I will maybe play around with the plugin a little bit more and show you some, I don't know, sounds it can do. And then we will wrap up the video because it's already too long. So let's go ahead with the presets. I will play the track from the start. This is only a piano and some strings, so they might not be the best instruments to display the sounds because they are quite quiet and there's no dynamic range really. But I will still play the track from the beginning. So let's see what we can do. And now you can also see the spectrum analyzer working here and the animations in the distortion functions. Okay, that was one of the worst demonstrations I have ever done, but maybe you heard some of the presets and how the animations work and the dynamic distortion functions here, how they move and how you can see the input signal going through the function. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe we will play around with a little bit more. I want to show you the dynamic feature once again with a little bit more focus with only the drums. And you will hear the difference between a dynamic distortion and non-dynamic, how much more transparent the dynamic feature sounds like. So this is without it, and now I turn it on for the attack. And for the release. So yeah, there you can hear how different the dynamic feature sounds like. And I'm really proud of this feature, and I think it's something I will end up using in most of my production in the future, because it's just really nice to have to make some transparent distortion and saturation. So yeah. And there you have it. I'm so excited about this plugin. I really like how it turned out. You can get yours from sixsample.com/flatter. I'll leave the link also down in the description. And for the first week, you can get your flatter for a 50% discount. So be sure to be quick and get yours and save some money. Let me know what you think of the plugin in the comments. I would really love to know your thoughts. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.